the autumn and winter. We obviously, kick off really, I suppose, with AJ and Usyk at Spurs in 3 weeks' time. Before that, we have got an Oscar Valdez fight, a very good fight from Top Rank as well. So we hope we're covering the sort of the whole sport. We're also, with the tournaments, we're looking to give back and get the grassroots involved too. We're working closely with the ABAs of the various countries of England, of Scotland, of Wales, of Ireland. We're hoping to come up with some novel ideas to really support grassroots as well. So it's a real sort of wide, appealing content sort of formulation going forward. And of course, we get the Top Rank archive as well. So you'll be seeing the big names from the past too. So it's the big names from the past and the sort of young, fresh ones from the future. And I think sort of 30 years and flying with boxing on Sky. And this is a new era, a new chance for us to go again, to freshen up, to be innovative, to change things. We dipped our toes into the YouTube market in the last 2 or 3 years. Some of you didn't like that, some of you did, and to get a different audience. But we are looking at sort of moving with the times, but we want to try and look after the core trade fan as well as the casual fan. So we're looking for big blockbuster nights and then the sort of grassroots shows as well, to give a really sort of good feel, a good appeal to both to the customers that we've got on Sky, the general boxing fans, of course, and to the fighters themselves. And I think that what we've been working on over the last 3 months, we've obviously behind the scenes, it's been quiet, it's been secretive, but we've had a lot of good responses already. And I think the fighters have got the opportunity now to really engage in this new drive and join us on the Sky Sports platform. So we're really excited. We're realistic to realise that there's a lot of competition out there with DAZN, with BT, and various other things. Fight Zone's going really well for Dennis, and we're aware of that, and we like that. We embrace that. We've always liked to challenge at Sky. We haven't always had every sweet in the jar, but we've got some good ones coming up, and we're really happy to be back. And the team are buzzing, and I think everyone's got their mojo back here, guys. So yeah, anything you want to ask, fire away. But it's good times ahead for us here.
What the fuck?
Kevin, have you got a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can hear you, Kevin. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I was trying to find. I'm not familiar with Microsoft Teams, but then again, I'm not the youngest in this stable. Adam, you mentioned this is kind of a rebrand, isn't it, in a sense? But as we've seen in the transfer window, Messi to PSG, Ronaldo to Manchester United, these are the movers, aren't they? These are the ones that make the play. Less so, guys from the Barcelona B team to Spurs. So I wonder, who are the big names that you're going to pin this to, to drive the Sky machine? Because, you know as well as I do that you need ticket sellers. So how do you see this developing, and how do you keep hold of AJ, for example, after his next fight, and attract the big names to Sky?
It's an interesting question, Kevin, and it was a bit transfer deadline last night for us as well as the football. You know how boxing works, and there's a lot of fighters under contract to a lot of other promoters. So obviously, it's a different world for us. We've worked with Matchroom and Eddie for 10 years, and they've taken their stable to DAZN. So it's fresh for us. We're building, and we've done it before, and we're doing it again. I think to have Josh Taylor with us, who undoubtedly the undisputed champion and many people's pick for our best fighter is obviously very important. We've got Anthony Joshua's next fight against Alexander Usyk, which will be huge at Tottenham, and something we've worked for a long time, getting it to Spurs, and I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, as everybody knows, that's a separate deal to Matchroom, and it's the final fight that we have with AJ. But we've had AJ. We've had a wonderful journey with him, a loyal and trusting and excellent relationship, and helping build up from obviously what he did in London 2012, and we've been with him every step of the way. So very excited about talks and movement in that direction. But he needs to get this fight out of the way first. It's a tough fight against Usyk, and but AJ's been amazing for us, and we're very hopeful that we'll continue a relationship flourishing into the future. But he's got business to do, and we've got as you say, it is a rebrand, it is a freshen up, it is a sort of slightly maybe cooler look for us. We've got the whole business behind us, which we're really excited about. We've got Comcast behind us. You talk about the big names, Josh Taylor. I think Chris Eubank is a name that sort of really resonates, certainly with the casual audience. I think one of the big things for me, Kevin, in the last sort of 5 years is bringing up the women and actually making it not women's boxing, but just boxing in general. You know, Katie Taylor, when she turned professional with us, was a fantastic moment. And, you know, it was brilliant to have her and Terry Harper and Chantel Cameron in developing on Sky. And we're really excited about having, you know, Savannah Marshall in many ways sort of leading that. Clarissa Shields from the other side of the pond as well. Michaela Mayer from Top Rack. Caroline Dubois, you know, the first of the Olympians to come through. And we really think she's going to be a fantastic talent. She's a lovely young woman. And I'm really excited about the women's side. But I think there are some big names that are going to come through. This is the first stage. This is only the first phase of the announcements. There will be more, you know, ahead. And as you know, the boxing world turns very quickly. But no, Lewis Ritson for us is a good name in Newcastle, you know, but we like Richard Riakporhe. You know, we think he's been slightly sort of, you know, under the radar, and we want to give these opportunities to fighters. There's a lot of unbeaten fighters on this list. You know, Joe Pickford, a very good fighter that's come through. Brad Ray, you know, and some of them just haven't had the opportunity, I think, on the big screen. And now they've got Sky behind them. We can tell their stories, which are fascinating, you know, and seeing them all. They're a real diverse, fresh, good-looking bunch, and I think that they're going to attract a lot of the casual fans. And of course, because we've got the Premier League, the big deal, Kevin, you know, we can use that. We can use the football to move into Saturday nights, and I think we can build a new generation here on Sky. It's something we're really excited about.
Thank you.
And Chris, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, Adam, just on the boxer link up, but there was a lot of surprise that Sky went with somebody like Ben Shalom, who's obviously started Ultimate Boxer, but would be a relative unknown. Can you just kind of explain what the thinking behind that is?
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, Eddie went to DAZN, and we, first of all, we wanted to stay in boxing as we have for 30 years. You and I know, I've been here for 27 of them, that, you know, we've been there year in, year out, and I think there's a synergy with Sky and boxing, and I think that the people I've met sort of, you know, and talked to over the last few months are saying, you know, what are you guys doing, and when are you sort of coming back? There's nothing quite like a Sky boxing show. And, you know, yes, we had some great times, but I think we needed to go again. I think it was important to, you know, to change direction slightly. You know, Ben is the youngest promoter in Britain. He's a very smart guy. He's very innovative. He's very cool. He's very relaxed. He's a different character to Eddie. You know, he's not going to be in front and center. He's going to, you know, let the fighters do that. And I think the key with this message is that the fighters are going to be, you know, be the stories and the stars. But Ben, you know, was he gave an extraordinarily good sort of presentation. He's worked very hard on it with the, you know, he's built a team for quite a long time in the background. There's a very strong team there behind him. And I think that although it was maybe a sort of slight shock to the boxing world when we announced it, I think for example, you know, I didn't know him that well. I've obviously watched the shows that he's put on the other channels, but I wanted obviously to get to know him very, very quickly and had to. He's really impressed me, and we've been working, you know, together on a sort of daily basis for the last 3 months, and I find him engaging, and I find him thoughtful, and I find him bright, and I find him ambitious, and all of those things. But I also think he loves the fighters. And he made a very good decision, which was to bring John Wischusen in. And John is an absolutely terrific guy who knows boxing inside and out. He has 20 years of experience from Matchroom and years independently as well. He's a very, very respected figure from fighters, trainers and managers alike. So almost you've got the sort of the wisdom of John and the youthful sort of, you know, dreams of Ben, and they're hard workers. And that's what I liked. And, you know, I had that with Eddie. You know, he was passionate. He was 24/7. I'm that sort of character, and, you know, my wife keeps telling me, you know, God, is Ben Shalom calling again? You know, he's part of our house at the moment. You know, it's that we've worked very closely together. I've been extremely impressed with him, and I, like you, wasn't sort of, you know, it was a risk, it was a chance. We've given him the keys, but I think with that, I've been really really like working with him, and I see this as now, you know, this is great. We sort of can get this announcement out, and it's almost like, woof. then we can take breath, and then the hard work really starts, where we really have to look at, each match, each single fight card, where are we going, who do we really want to sort of build in what area. We want to take, different areas in the UK and give people with the real opportunities that maybe they haven't had in the past. And Ben was, willing to work with Wasserman, who are, bringing us Chris Eubank. He's willing to work with, Dimitri Salita, who's bringing us Clarissa Shields. And I think that's a breath of fresh air, that we can work with other things. We've already had a Pacquiao fight with PBC. We're going to work closely with them as well. So, the doors are open. And I think that's a really encouraging thing. Plus, of course, the Top Rank deal, having 4 years with the great global promoter that Top Rank have, from the days of Ali to the Four Kings to De La Hoya and Mayweather to, having Crawford and Lomachenko and Shaka Stevenson and Jamel Herring and all of these guys and Michaela Meyer, and it's fantastic, and I think to have that blend of real sort of great names already that are kind of come in, and almost like, some really pleased the trade fans as well with some of those overnight fights, but then at sort of 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, we can build on the back of football and sort of introduce new names and new styles and new flow. And yeah, it's going to take time. This is a journey. This is just the beginning. It's an embryonic relationship. I worked with Barry and Eddie for 27 years. This is 3 months with Ben. But I tell you what, I'm very, very pleased at what I'm seeing, and I'm very excited about what happens next.
And just Danny, I think. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Just on, obviously Kevin touched on AJ, but how important is it to the future to possibly tie him down and keep him on Sky? Because we all know he is the biggest star by some distance for pay-per-view revenue in the UK. Absolutely.
I mean, he was a star in London 2012, and we think we've made him a superstar on Sky and with the platform. And it's been a fantastic relationship with Anthony Joshua. He's virtually been an ambassador, hasn't he? His picture all over the buildings here as you drive up the M4, and from the relationship that he's had with Sky and the platform and the way we've built him, because I think that's key is looking at how we build fighters and starting them off, clever matchmaking, clever sort of use around the country, and then going to Sky Sports box office maybe when it's the right time. And we've had that, we had that with Bruno and Lewis and David Hay and the other heavyweights that have come before him. But Anthony's a special fighter, of course. He's loved by the nation. He's had that the engaging smile, the looks, the performances that go with it, and of course the defeat as well that he's had to come back from and rebuild. And now he stands as the world heavyweight champion 2 times over. He's got a phenomenally difficult fight against Alexander Usyk. He loves to take the big challenges. Who knows what happens ahead with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. The heavyweight boxing is alive and well, and of course AJ is a massively important part of our business and of Sky. So of course I'll be naive and silly to say, look, we can, we're going to be happy just to sort of let him go off into the sunset. Of course not. We'll be fighting very hard to maintain our a contract going forward with Anthony Joshua. But that's something that we need just to put aside to it for a minute. This is about Boxer, about Top Rank, about Sky, about our commitment to boxing. 30 years and a new chapter. And I think with AJ, it's a huge fight on September the 25th. All our energy, I think, after this week and when we sort of got through this, will be going towards building that and then building into the momentum we have in the autumn and winter period with Boxer and Top Rank. But of course, we'd be delighted to keep our relationship with Anthony Joshua. Personally, I've got a great relationship with him and Freddie Cunningham and the team, and we'll be looking to do everything we can to secure a great future for AJ and Sky, and I believe we will. I think he's a very loyal guy. I think he stayed with Eddie Hearn, he stayed with Robert McCracken, and I think that he'll stay with Sky. But we don't know. That lies ahead, and he's got a fight to win, and we've got a fight to push for him.
Danny?
Cheers. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Danny. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just a couple from me. Under the Matchroom Partnership, we saw around 4 to 5 Sky Sports box office events per year. Is that balance now going to change more in favour of regular Sky Sports shows? And if not, who are going to be those pay-per-view stars outside of AJ?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the key, as always, with Sky Sports box office events, Danny, is, and I do, is that they've got to be, worth that extra bit, the extra bit of stardust, that extra sort of, time in the sun. And I think, we look at every event that we put on box office and have done through the years about when the right time is. And I think it's very important for us to give as much as we can to the Sky Sports customers. I think that's crucial, not only in the fight nights, but in the support programming on social, on digital, on YouTube, on Sky Sports News, our 24/7 sports platform, and to tell the stories. So I think the key for me is that it's a whole, it's a blend of everything, and I mean that from the grassroots up. That whether we get in doing ABA tournaments, or whether we can come up with something novel for the amateurs, and then we look at the tournament shows, which give opportunities for fighters who may not get them on mainstream. And a chance for them to get their name in the sun on some exciting different sort of shows, up to the big nights and then the box office events. So yeah, we've chosen very carefully, and we'll choose very carefully going forward. I think it's important to get that right balance, and I'm delighted, for example, that Chris Eubank will be on Sky Sports. He was obviously on pay-per-view last, I think, couple of times we've had him, and then you look at Josh Taylor, and of course he's going to be on Sky Sports as well. So almost like the two big names that Kevin was asking about at the beginning, are going to be on Sky Sports. So I think that's a fantastic message. Anthony Joshua, we know about. Will there be other Sky box office events, before Christmas? Possibly, if we feel that something merits it, but only if it merits it. So I don't know. I like to think that we'll have a good mix, a good balance, but we want to give a great deal to Sky customers, because of course it's not just boxing we're dealing with. Does DAZN have boxing? What do we have? We have the Premier League, we have Formula One, we have enormous amounts of cricket. I don't know if you watched the 100, but I thought that was a thrilling new sort of invention. And I think the tournament shows will be very interesting to see where we go with boxing going forward into a sort of new audience, a new generation there. We've got the major golf, we've got the darts, which I love, of course. There's all sorts of other events. And I think that, what we're doing is we're giving a very good offering in boxing going forward, more content than we've ever had before. And it's, of course, a lot of that should be just for the Sky Sports customers, but for those big starry nights, Sky Sports box office will happen. It will continue, but it will continue when we want it to continue and when we feel it's right for the customers and the fans.
You've been planning this launch for today for some time, so it was rather a happy coincidence, if you like, when DAZN announced their price rise in the UK yesterday. Were you secretly delighted about that, coming just before your announcement?
Look, we're not here to throw stones. We've had a great relationship with Eddie and Frank, and for a long time, and they've gone off on their adventure a little bit like Frank Warren did a decade ago with Box Nation. And we then gave Eddie Hearn the keys, and everyone was saying, why do we give Eddie Hearn the keys? What is he, Barry Hearn's son? Well, look what happened to Eddie. I think our platform helped him somewhat. Look, it's that's their business and that's their take on it. There is competition out there, and we watch their fights, and we have our own. I think we're interested in what we can do for our Sky customers and for fight fans, and for a new sort of era in boxing, and what we can do to help and give back to grassroots. So look, they do what they think is right, and obviously Frank does what he thinks right on BT. There's some, I watched the Birmingham show, I watched the box office show with Jake Paul. Me, Danny, I watch everything. I was talking to Josh Taylor earlier and saying, I was just so gutted I couldn't have the Ramirez fight, and everyone was saying to me, why don't we have the Taylor Ramirez fight? And I'm lying in bed at 4 a.m. watching it, texting Josh, going, I'm sorry, but hoping that we get him. And it's things like that. The way boxing works, and there's a lot of different lanes. There's a lot of different strategies that we need to be very, very smart here. We need to be concerning for our customers and our fans and our new look and our new brand. And the fact we've got the business behind us, the fact that we've got a rejuvenated team ready to go, it's very, very exciting. So good luck to everyone else, and we embrace the competition. And I know Joe Markowski well, and I respect all of them, of course. We've got to concentrate on what we're doing. We're lined up with Ben and his great team at Boxer, with Todd and his fantastic team at Top Rank. Todd has been begging me for years for an opportunity like this, and I think he's as delighted as anyone. So it's a big day for us. It's an important day. It's an exciting day. But I think the message is it's only the beginning. This is the start of a new chapter, a new dawn, a new rebuild. And I hope everybody enjoys the journey, and I hope that one or two might jump on board the train. I think they will.
Thanks, Adam.
Can I pass to Ron next, please?
Yeah, hi, Adam. A couple of quick ones. Firstly, obviously, I assume that Josh Taylor fight's going to be a Top Rank show. Are all the other shows going to be promoted by Boxer, or is like Eubank going to be a sort of Sauerland Wasserman show, and you're sort of like working with other promoters through Boxer, as it were?
That's right. Again, a good question, Ron, and I think Ben wants to make it very clear, and so do I, that we're working with different people. There's no sort of closed shop here. But obviously, Boxer are the promotional company that we have our contract with, so they're the ones that we want to see the stable built at, and obviously Top Rank have a ready-made stable that they're always looking to improve at, and arguably the best stable in the world. And I think that it's good that we've managed to work, or Ben's managed to work with Calais and Nisse at Wasserman and Duncan and Dean to get Chris Eubank, and that will be a co-promotion with Wasserman, as will the Josh Taylor night with Top Rank. So it's Top Rank and Boxer, and it's Boxer and Wasserman. But our deals are with Boxer and Top Rank, and but we're embracing the fact that they're working with other promoters. It's excellent to have Chris Eubank and Josh Taylor on Sky channels, and we're interested in what we can broadcast on Sky. And obviously, we want to broadcast the very best fighters we can. We can't have everybody, of course we can't. We've just had a whole huge stable leave and go to the zone. So and those fighters that are under contract are under contract. So we've got to almost like start again with Boxer. But I think we've made great strides in 3 months to have the list that we've gone through, and I'm sure that there'll be more exciting announcements in the weeks to come. But yeah, it's also brilliant to be working in conjunction with Boxer and Wasserman, and in conjunction with Top Rank and Boxer together for that show. So yeah, and it's maybe it's a novel new beginning that we'll get more of this. But yeah, it's primarily Boxer and Top Rank who we're dealing with.
And one other thing, does this, because there was a lot of talk before, obviously, that it was essentially just the box office shows that were financing everything else. Does this represent, with only one box office show planned, that actually there's a bigger budget for just normal fight nights now at Sky?
Well, we don't go into the budgets and the deals, the rights deals, but it's safe to say that everybody at Sky, from the CEO Stephen Van Rooyen down, is extremely excited about this and putting a great deal of time and energy into this journey. We think at Sky that we've helped boxing. Boxing's helped Sky. I think it's, as I said to you before, it's a synergy. It's something that I think that's gone hand in hand. I walked into this building in 1994. It was the beginning of the Chris Eubank World Tour. Chris Eubank Senior. How ironic now that Junior becomes one of our big names. Sort of almost 30 years later, and we've gone through a great deal of sort of ups and downs in the sport and different promoters, and we've worked with different people, and we've had some incredible experiences and put on some of the biggest nights, not all the biggest nights, but a great many, and we're very proud of our history at Sky. But this is a chance to sort of move forwards and go again, and I think there's a real feeling, I felt that anyway in the last few weeks, of all the work that's been going on behind the scenes, not just from the sort of production and editorial teams, but the press and the promotional and the creative and the organizational and the everything. I mean, areas that you and I are not experts in, but they've come together, and we've utilized that a little bit with boxing in the past. We have hotspot meetings for our box office events where we like to sort of draw in tentacles of the business, whether it be Sky News or Sky One, and now we sort of feel that we've got the Comcast family behind us as well. So everybody is very excited from top down about this deal. Jonathan Licht, my boss and the new MD of Sky Sports, is a big fight fan. We know Barney Francis was, but Jonathan Licht really is, and he's very, very excited about this. And I think he's excited about this sort of new start. And as he starts his role as MD of Sky Sports, as Ben starts his first big opportunity in boxing, and we have our first real chance with Top Rank, and it's a new look, and it's just really exciting. It's a great new challenge ahead. And Ron, as you know, we've always loved and embraced challenges. So yeah, look, we're really excited about the offering ahead. We're very excited about the fact that there is money behind us. There is company backing. There is a feeling of it's not just boxing doing this, it's Sky doing this, and that makes me feel very happy, confident, a little bit nervous. I've got a lot of pressure on my shoulders. This is Ben, and look, once today's out of the way, we're right back to the negotiating table and the plotting table, and we'll the hard work, Ron, starts now.
Excellent. Cheers,
Kevin, I think hand over to Kevin. I think we've, obviously, as I mentioned to everyone, we've got some other interviews coming up soon. So I think if we can make this the last couple questions, then we can wrap up and move on to the other fighters, please.
Thanks. Okay, Adam, I'll speed you along here. But one way of connecting to grassroots and also piggybacking on grassroots would be to tap into the freshly minted Olympic talent that we have. Caroline Dubois, fantastic signing, no doubt. But there are others out there, aren't there? Whittaker, the Clarks, Fraser and Chevon, Galyafai, Lauren Price. What can you tell us about their movements coming up?
I can tell you there's a lot of conversations going on with the Olympians from every single angle. I'm sure every promoter around the world has looked at the most successful team that we've had in 100 years. I got to know some of them before the Olympics. I know obviously people like Fraser Clark and Galyafai from sort of way back. So, I watched every fight. They've been on my radar. We've had, good conversations with many of them, not all of them yet. But we're very, very excited that Caroline has taken this opportunity and believes in us, And it's interesting because, Daniel hasn't worked with Sky. I've been a big fan of Daniel Dubois, and I voted him as the winner of the British Boxing Award when he won Young Boxer of the Year. And I've watched his career sort of from afar, but, he's with a brilliant trainer now in Shane McGuigan. And I sort of secretly hope that we get Caroline. I spent a bit of time with her before the Olympics, and I think she was, genuinely really unlucky not to medal. I think she's young. She's got so much talent. I think she's just a lovely young lady. And yeah, look, we'll be hoping that we're right in the mix with the Olympians, and not just the Olympians. We've got the likes of Mark Dickinson, for example, and Georgia O'Connor and Ebony Jones, and the ones that maybe didn't make that sort of that final cut, because the competition is just what Rob McCracken and the team have done up there. It's been phenomenal, and the competition amazing. So there's some nuggets as well that didn't quite get on there. So we've been using hopefully our smarts and our we've got a great platform, Kevin, and we haven't got everything, but we've got a fantastic platform. We've got a great reputation. We've got a great history. We've got to now prove, and Ben's got to prove that he can put on great shows that are worthy of Sky, and I'm absolutely convinced he can. And I think that a lot of those Olympians and other fighters, established fighters, are going to be looking at this announcement and watching us very carefully over the next few weeks. And, let's see what happens going forwards. But, very exciting times.
One last question, just kind of linking into that. You're probably from the same generation as me, Adam. I remember watching Charlie Magri and Alan Minter in the ABAs, given to us via the BBC in those days. Not live, granted, but it showed how the boxing narrative developed before they turned pro. So we learned about these people as amateurs. So is there scope for Sky really to dig deep into the amateur platforms and the amateur world and show us these elite fighters as they're coming through on amateur shows? Is there a sense in which Sky can make sense of the amateur game and give us introduce the future stars before they turn over?
I think that's one of the things that impressed us about Ben was that, he wanted to do exactly that. And whether it's sort of grassroots of young pros starting out, of which there's several on the list, or it's, even before that, going back into the amateurs, the Azim brothers, for example, Shane McGuigan and the McGuigans feel that, they're going to be great. And, some of them we just don't know too much about. So I think it's a case of working very closely with Robert Smith and all the authorities around the sort of UK and Ireland. And, we've seen the success of Team GB. It's been phenomenal. And I, for one, am very, very keen to look into that and to work and to help support, that world. And I think that we can come up with some novel ideas, maybe some, 2021 ideas that can bring amateur boxing back a little bit. And actually, you're right, tell those stories. And I think that's what we've got at Sky. We've got a platform that can tell stories. And it's something that we did very well with our our 24/7 type shows. The gloves are off and behind the ropes and ringside, of course, where we weren't just getting the professional fighters in, but we were getting the amateur grassroots fighters in as well. And that's something I think we can look at again. We've got a wider platform now. It's great. It's a blank canvas. We've we've got getting this announcement out, and now we can start really evolving it. And I think, you'll look at it in a sort of year, 2 years time, and you'll think, wow, that was an embryonic, maybe a sort of, a first phase start. But I think that you'll see the whole sport hopefully growing, and that's what we want to do. We've always felt we've given back to boxing by being so loyal, being the only broadcaster really that has kept in boxing for so long. And I think that we're very excited about doing that going forward at both amateur and professional level. The whole thing, and you look at fitness and the great sort of stuff that boxing does, and the fact that people are in the gyms and they're doing boxercise classes, or they want to have a fight, a white collar fight on a charity show and things like that. I think there's a real buzz about boxing. We've seen it in the YouTube world, whether we like it or not. We've seen the fact that people want to fight, and there's so much good that can come out of it. We've got great stories like Richard Riakport's background that we can tell now, and April Hunter and the scrapes that some of these fighters have got into, and how boxing's helped them. I think I want to tell those stories more, Kevin, and I think you're absolutely right. We need to dig really deep into the grassroots, and that's something I'm very keen to do.
Thank you.